Alrighty, y'all. How you going? We are looking at 17 of the most amazing and unusual homes in Australia. I thought this would be pretty fun. I just stumbled upon this, and sometimes I find cool stuff like this, and I thought, you know what, this would make a pretty fun video. We have looked at homes in Australia a couple ways. A long time ago, I looked at some of the most, I think it was like expensive homes or like mansions or whatever. Most of them were like around Sydney and stuff. So that was kind of cool, or kind of interesting at least. Super, expensive stuff. Then, of course, we've looked at, more recently, a few months ago, I looked at some regular real estate, right? Like trying to find some different apartments, some different homes, seeing, how the prices were and looking at a few different areas. I would like to try that again, looking at more areas. But this one is just some unusual homes. So I think that's always kind of fun to see what kind of weird ideas and weird architecture certain homes can have. And they might be awesome. They might be too weird, right? They might be kind of ugly or whatever, or not your taste. But that's the point. I think it's just kind of fun. It's always fun to see something a little different. So yeah, it says, when it comes to unusual, fantastic, creative, and downright weird Australian homes, you needn't look further than our own backyard. Australia is home to a lot of these amazing homes, from homes literally built onto the sides of cliffs. That sounds interesting. Architectural masterpieces on a remote sheep farm, and houses that look like intricate origami sculptures. Our nation has it all. We thought it was time that we shared some favorites. So coming in at number one is something called the Power Street Residence. And as you can see, it does look interesting, right? Like if you look over here, not too crazy, just looks like a modern style home. But then it does have a really quite beautiful, fancy, pool here, as well as some weird, like, see-through part here. Like, it's all glass. I really don't know how they did that. It's got these funky looking, like, structures right in the middle. It makes for an interesting look. It is very different, and it almost looks like steps, like giant steps if you look up here. Of course, the view from the inside looking out, again, looks pretty interesting for sure. It does look pretty cool, though. You can find this gem on Power Street in Hawthorne, Victoria. The home was designed for a family and encompasses 4 bedrooms, one with a bathroom and a walk-in robe, a study, second upstairs living area, and 2 bathrooms. And that comes from Craig Rossetti Architects, so shout out to them. There you go. Then we look at a cliff-top house on Great Ocean Road. Ooh, this is probably a pricey one, but probably a beautiful property. Great Ocean Road, of course, being just like it sounds. A great ocean road that winds and curves along the cliffs on the side, or on the coast rather, right by the ocean. And this is, of course, built on that Great Ocean Road, surrounded by pristine national parks. This home is literally on the edge of a cliff. That sounds absolutely stunning, to be honest. It's really not so much about the actual house design itself, but rather the environment. The fact that it's on the side of a cliff in that area, by national parks, by that coastline, yeah, that would be pretty epic. Open plan kitchen, living, and dining area spans 15 meters long, providing an uninterrupted view of the ocean. The home also includes an infinity lap pool. This was from Nick Corrales from Woods Bago. Being the architect. So there you go. Yeah, there's that infinity pool. Very scenic place. Looks pricey, but damn. I mean, that view, you got to pay for the view, right? That is an epic view. You can see through the windows, the cliffs, and the ocean there. Wow. Then we have the Hertford Street House. This was designed by Claire Cousins Architects and is a contemporary home that still manages to celebrate its original heritage. Look at that. Very interesting. It does look contemporary, although I like, it's pretty different seeing this brick face finish on it, right? It's unique. It's kind of cool. Like I said, contemporary, sometimes it really works. It's not necessarily my style, but it is interesting to see, right? With the window placement there and everything. Yeah, it's interesting. It's a nice, clean property. Then we have the Turner House. This is close to Toorak Station in Melbourne. This contemporary townhouse features a wall-to-ceiling glass to encourage light to stream into the home, as well as an expansive deck creating a sense of flow for effortless indoor/outdoor living. This is from Friedman White, was the architect. Yeah, this one looks sharp. This one definitely looks sharp. I do like the inside a lot, I mean, how can you argue with all that? Tall ceilings, open concept. It looks really high-end. Yeah, it looks like a nice place to be. The Tower House, a renovation and extension of an old weatherboard home in Victoria. The owners of this home, including their 8-year-old twins, asked for a home for community, art, and nature to come together. Arcello architects decided to design them a village. While from outside the home might look like a series of separate dwellings, from inside everything connects to create one large home. Oh, well, that's unique. It does look like separate kind of buildings, right? And it's not. They're all connected. Ooh, wish we had more pictures of it. But yeah, you can kind of see that you would be able to walk through all these. So that is very interesting. Very interesting. Definitely unique. Coming in at number 7, the Seaview House. This brief for Jackson Clement Burroughs Architects was to replace a deteriorating beach shack so that it could become the owner's permanent home. That's straightforward. It turned out pretty cool, didn't it? Better than some deteriorating shack, right? It was restored and it is being lived in now. I guess you can't argue with that. It's kind of cool. It is totally different aesthetic, but I like it. I like it inside, too. It has cool, has like a fun vibe to it, right? I mean, can't argue with a beach home, right? By the way, we went from 5 to 7 to 7 to 8, so it's all over the place. We're going to ignore the numbers. That's all right. This is the Cross Stitch House. This is a single-story terrace on a 5-meter-wide block in inner-city Melbourne that maintains its original facade. The brief from the owners was to create a new living area, relocate the kitchen and bathrooms, and create more natural light throughout the main living areas and bedrooms. This is from FMD Architects. And, that is pretty unassuming from the outside, right? It just looks nice, like an older style home. But it doesn't look anything like super crazy like some of the other ones have. But on the inside, though, it's got some flavor. Like, look at that. Wow, lots of natural light coming in, indeed. And these support beam looking things, they're just, they're interesting. It looks pretty cool, actually. Then we have the Hertford House, a fantastic home in Melbourne with an undeniable Scandinavian vibe. Ooh, that's cool. It's always fun when you get some straight up like international designs in a different country. It's always kind of interesting, right? And I wouldn't really know. I'm not an expert on architecture from different places, but this looks like it could be Scandinavian, right? I really don't know. It's kind of cool, though. Then we have Solace, an environmentally integrated home made of concrete, stone, glass, and blockwork. Coined Solace, this architectural masterpiece was built on Hamilton Island and incorporates aerial living spaces and a private roofed outdoor zone. Given the home is in the tropics, it has been built to withstand tropical cyclones and the elements. Well, that is indeed sharp. This is from Renato de Torre Architects. I probably said that wrong. De Torre? I don't know. I suck at names. I do apologize, but beautiful area this is in. Look at that area. In the tropics. Nice view. The home itself is very different, right? But it's cool. Very, rich looking. Dang, look at that view. I mean, yeah, these are definitely extravagant homes. Keep that in mind. They're unusual, but they're also extravagant. They're not, going to be your typical home you'd see, basically anywhere. Then we have a shed-inspired house. Okay, now I've seen some things like some people creating bigger sheds into some sort of living space. I've heard of course, like the new term you hear recently is like barn dominium, these big outbuildings or barns converted into living spaces that can actually be pretty cool. It's interesting to see, things used for a practical purpose, repurposed for a greater, task. It is interesting, right? This one is a 3-bedroom home designed by Melbourne-based architectural studio Glow Design Group for a couple with one child and another on the way. The home is in country Victoria, is energy efficient, and makes the most out of its environment and expansive views across surrounding farmland. This one sounds cool. This one might be the one I'd lean towards. I mean, it looks like it's in a rural area, nice and secluded. It's got some beautiful countryside around it, I'm sure. And just the way it looks, it actually looks cool. I dig this one. I think this is my favorite one. And I feel like this one might be, I'm sure it's not cheap. Like, that's not kid around. But I don't think this would be as expensive as some of these crazy, millions of dollars on the side of a cliff by a national park by the coastline type deal. I feel like this might be a little more attainable. You know what I mean? I could be wrong, but that's a guesstimate. But yeah, this one's cool. I like it. This is the Klein Bottle House. Now, this one's getting into the unusual, for sure. This is a complex origami structure sitting in the wilderness. The Klein Bottle House by architects McBride Charles Ryan has won numerous prestigious awards, including the World Best House Award in 2009. I didn't even know there was such a thing. I might have to look into that. The World Best House Award. the World Best House Award. That's interesting. I mean, best house in the world, that's a hell of a claim. Now, as much as I can appreciate seeing these, especially for a video like this, it is cool, right? It is weird that something like this exists. I would never live in something like this. It is too weird for me. Tell me down below, like, if money was no object, right? You know, would you live in something that's super weird and obscure like this? Or, you know, are you a little more like me? Maybe it's a little too weird for you, too different, right? Let me know down below. Like I said, I appreciate this for what it is. It is very unique and very bizarre. But it is out there. It is definitely different. Then we have the Torquay House. This was built on a series of modern containers. Oh, so we have it seems to be a really well done, like upscale container home, you know, that has been converted, of course. It is consciously built to avoid the east and west outlooks. Instead, it provides amazing views to the north and south. Okay. And look, it looks nice inside, nice and simple, nice and clean. You can see it there. It looks pretty, considering it's out of shipping containers, you know, when you look at it like this, it actually looks pretty sharp, right? I mean, they make it look from industrial to, like, this is actually a nice house, especially with the driveway and the landscaping and the lighting. It definitely helps it look like pretty upscale, considering what it is or what it started out as. That's pretty phenomenal. Then we have the Shearers Quarter House. This is south of the continent, and you'll find the most amazing Shearers house you ever did see. I corrected myself there. The home is built on a historic 440-hectare sheep on a 440-hectare sheep farm on Bruny Island in Tasmania. I'm talking too fast, guys. Sometimes you get going in front of the camera, and then I start messing up. I had my flow. This is interesting, for sure. This is another really different one. Look at the sheep. I like that it's in Tasmania. That's a lot different, right? Way down there. Again, beautiful landscape surrounding it. I'm sure of it. It certainly looks that way. Wow. Very interesting, very unique. Again, wouldn't live there personally, but I can appreciate it. It's a lot different. Then we have the House Holmen. This is an award-winning design by Durbach Block Architects. Their home, built in 2004, is literally on the edge of a 230-foot high cliff in Dover Heights. Woo! Probably not an ideal home for those scared of heights. I don't think so. But definitely an amazing architectural feat that we can still stand back and marvel at. Certainly, I will totally admire these pictures. It is actually stunning. This, you know, is up there for some of the, you know, most stunning homes of this article. It like this shot, it does look crazy, right? It looks like something out of a movie, like some rich, crazy, you know, I don't know, like rich person or superhero house or something. It is wild looking. So it does look exotic, but sitting there might freak me out a little bit. It looks as if it's just levitating over the edge. Yeah, that is not my style at all. Ooh, and this one might be even worse. It is definitely even worse. Okay, see, I'm not even someone who's like super afraid of heights. I'm a little bit afraid of heights. I feel like there's people that are worse than me. But when we're talking like something like this, then I'm afraid of heights, right? I mean, that's just, it's craziness. This is just called the Cliff House. This is a 5-story home that literally is hanging off of a cliff. This one is not for the faint-hearted. Named the Cliff House, this home was designed when Klein's approached architects Modscape to come up with housing options for extreme land situated along the Australian coast. The home was inspired by the way that barnacles can cling onto the hulls of ships, and pretty quickly a brilliant concept was born, a modular home clinging to the side of a cliff rather than a more conventional approach of building it on top of it. This one, I just have a lot of questions. No, I would never live there. 2, I admire it. It looks absolutely crazy. I'm sure maybe a few other extreme examples like this, exist across the planet. But I've never personally seen a house that's straight up hanging off the edge of a cliff. It is unique as hell in the best way. It is really crazy. I wouldn't even want to step foot in this. I do wonder how they built it. I mean, let's get real. It is impressive. I mean, look at it. It's beautiful inside, and that's just wild. I mean, if you have that house, you can safely say, like, no one you know has a house like that, right? So it does win in a lot of ways, you know. This one wins for me in uniqueness, in exoticness, but boy, is it freaky too. And I don't even know how they did it. It's funny how the car is parked right here. I guess you would just have to leave your car on the side of the cliff there, or on the top of the cliff. Yeah, I guess that's it. It's not the most practical house. And I wonder how they got the land. Like, who bought that land? And literally the land is like right on edge. You know, like it's weird zone. I don't know. A lot of questions with that one. Finally, we have the Pole House. This tower is more than 40 meters above the beach in Fairhaven, Victoria, has been a landmark of the Great Ocean Road for more than 36 years. It was demolished recently due to be refurbished into a new steel and glass structure. The architect who took on the job was Franco Fiorentini from F2 Architecture. Fiorentini's vision was to take full advantage of the spectacular surrounding environment and beautiful ocean views. Well, they definitely achieved that. Another one that looks almost as if it's levitating from certain angles, like this front-on angle. This one is cool. It looks really sharp. Again, I would never live in something like this, but it is, you got to applaud the uniqueness, the unusualness to this. It is pretty phenomenal. And that shot of it by the sunset, by the coast, yeah, it's photogenic. Finally, lastly, we have the Highway House, a sustainably built home in Denern, facing north for maximum solar gain, natural light, and amazing views across the Derwent River and Hobart. Architects, room 11. Look at that. That is cool. This one, again, I wouldn't prefer, but it is a little less scary. It's just in these hills here, and it looks pretty scenic. Not as exotic as some of those ones right above, but this one's sharp. It looks sharp, looks nice and big inside. It's well lit. So I hope you enjoyed that one. I love doing different kind of videos like this. This one was pretty interesting. I'm really glad I stumbled upon this. If you have any ideas or suggestions like this, please shoot them my way. This was a good one, and these really were, I didn't know what to expect. These did blow me away. Like, I was hoping it would, be some pretty legit stuff. And it was. Some of these were really crazy. Let me know if you've been in a house like this. Hell, let me know if you live in a weird house like this. And yeah, I just can't wait to hear your thoughts down there in the comments. Please throw a like if you did enjoy this video. And of course, subscribe to be part of this amazing community we do have here. My name is Ian. You're watching IWrocker. And until next time, y'all, I'll catch you later.